All right. Let's get this started. Thank you so much for joining us today for the second session of the recruiting series, Top Techniques to Source and Attract Talent. If you're new to us, this program is hosted by WeWork Labs, and we are WeWork's business platform for startups and small businesses, or really anyone who's interested in professional or personal development. We provide mentorship opportunities, amazing discounts on business products and services, access to a global network of startups and SMBs, and professional development through virtual educational programming, just like this program that you're attending today. It's free, it's included in your membership, and it's available to all WeWork members. You can join us at members.weworklabs.com, and I'll share this link in the chat shortly. This learning series that you're attending today is a 6-week program, 6 hours of programming we built with 2 amazing partners, Elise Mourant and Mehdi Lebel, who are not only top recruitment experts, but they're also pioneers when it comes to this new approach of recruiting that is closer to sales and marketing than HR. And we'll learn more about what that means in this session today. So today's session will be run by Mehdi. He will teach you how you can turn your recruitment process into a marketing funnel. Mehdi, you spent more than 10 years working for several world leaders in recruitment, such as Robert Waters, and then you decided to found Bluemace 2 years ago, a startup dedicated to tech staffing for companies in Europe. With Bluemace, you help your clients to build tech teams. You have now a team of 95 people. That's a really impressive growth in 2 years. And you also train your clients to recruit and learn how to do so via an online academy. I would love to learn more about that today. Can't wait for you to start sharing your wisdom. But before we get started, I just want to say that we encourage all participants to share their questions through the Q&A function that you can find at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And we will, of course, leave some time at the end of the session to have all of your questions answered. Mehdi, the floor is yours. We're so happy to have you today.
Hi, thanks, Stephanie. So I'll just share my screen up. All good. You all see my screen? Stephanie, it's all right?
Looks good. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So thanks for the introduction. So my name is Mehdi, so I'm the Bluemace CEO. So now we'll be spending together 45 minutes on the session, and then I'll save just 15 minutes for questions. For the ones that just missed the last session, so just some disclaimers again. First thing, what I'm going to tell is no dogma. So those are just experiences I've had through my years working in tech recruiting for 12 years already now. So this is not something that you have to believe. You have just to try everything that I'll be telling to you. And this is what I think and what I experience. So absolutely no dogma, no religion around recruitment. This is only what I think about recruiting tech and what I experience. Second thing, I'll explain a lot of concepts. Those concepts, they need to be developed. We won't have the time to do it though. So do not hesitate, because it's going to be, for some of you, a bit generalist. Do not hesitate to book a call with me. I'm part of the, I think that Stephanie is going to share the link. I'm part of the mentorship program. So if some of you already did last week, book a call and you want to dig into some of the concepts I'll be showing, do not hesitate. I'll be there. You have an access to my Calendly and we can have a 30 minutes call. So it's going to be a part of theory in that. And at the end, and more on the third session, I'll be making some demos. So now I'll share some like slides. It's going to be a sliding part. And then at the end of those 45 minutes, I will just go through some demo with you. I hope my connection is going to be okay, which should be all right. And on the last session, the third one, it's going to be like 80% of demos. So you'll see some hack, some tricks we use, some scrapping, some automation that is going to be really less theory than today. Unfortunately, I cannot send the presentation because those are presentations I'll do with my clients and they are paying for that. So do not hesitate to take some screenshots. But at the end of the third session, I'll be sharing a Notion link with all the tools that I'll be sharing with you. So all the hacks, all the software, everything that we use, all the scrappers, you'll have everything on a Notion page. All right, let's get started. So for the one that weren't here last session. So we talked last time about the recruiting pain points. So we made a nice like user search on recruiting pain, and we talk about 9 pain points that show us that recruiting is quite hard. One of the most pain point was the sourcing. So I'll be really focusing on that session and the next one on the sourcing point. Then we talk about why recruitment has changed. So I'm not going to go again on that. It's just about there's like a talent war, especially in the United States, especially in Europe, I guess in other countries too. So those are mainly the reasons why we have to adapt. Companies are raising a lot of money and they're all recruiting the same profiles. I'm talking only about tech, about the stack. Everybody's looking for full stack developer, for DevOps, etc. So this is one of the reasons why recruiting has to change. And we need tools, we need science, and we need to get inspired. And for me, again, no dogma, I'm really inspired by like growth and sales marketing technique applied to recruitment. This is why we have to adapt with what we call the concept, again, it's called biomimicry. It's just to adapt the recruitment to the sales and marketing environment. So that's a little resume of what happened last time. So today's agenda, first of all, we're going to see what motivates the talent. European vision of tech recruiting, again, no dogma. Then we explore a bit of inbound recruitment. We'll see some of the power of outbound recruitment, and then I'll try a little speedrun demo here with you. So some basics about motivation. So again, that should sound a bit like conceptual for you, maybe a bit basic or quite obvious for you, but it's just so important to see that recruiters, they need to be absolutely involved for us in those basics. I mean, if you're a CEO of a company and all those things are obvious, it's just an advice that I'm telling to you, be sure that all you recruiters, people that are working around the talent acquisition, they know about those basics. So first thing we really had through our users, I mean, we are like developing a product. So we're in contact really all the time with the talents. So what we had as insight and on the study we did is the talents aren't really working for you, neither for the company, neither all the time for the person but just for the project they have. So money isn't enough, less and less, especially in tech, where the salary is absolutely booming. So they can have a good salary in, let's say, 90% of the proposition they have. And what we have absolutely as verbatim, so this is not me, this is some verbatim we had from developers, capital doesn't buy some soul. Then you have really to understand what we call the Maslow pyramid about what they need. So a mistake that I really see a lot in recruiting is that recruiters, they call some candidates and they directly jump into the proposal. They call, hi, my name is Mehdi, I'm recruiting a senior developer in JavaScript. I saw your profile on LinkedIn. I want to tell you about my company. They talk a lot about the company. They talk a lot about the amazing journey that is working for that company, but they never start with one question that is absolutely mandatory, quite super simple. Again, those are basics, as the title says. It's just starting by, hey, I saw your profile on LinkedIn. We have a lot of opportunities in our company. First question we always start with is, what is your ideal mission, project, work? This is how, for me, you get the best feedback. Then a good thing, a good tool is that the candidates, they do not adapt their pitch to what you're telling after. And then you look really inside of what they need, what they want, why they're quitting. We do like we do with, I mean, in sales, when you have, for people who know how to sell or to make product, there's like a discovery call. It's what we do in sales, in product management too. So we make those discovery call. We talk with the client. So we do exactly the same with the talent. We try to fix the Maslow. Some people are really money oriented. Of course, this is a nice sentence. Capital doesn't buy soul. You do have some developers, some tech guys, person that really need more money. They want to make a gap. So if that is on top of their Maslow pyramid, fine. So be sure to propose them a good salary and go deep and be specific with what they want. Then this is another Japanese concept, which is really trendy. Okay, I have to admit, it's called the Ikigai, is to find your place at the right time in the world / in your job, to make a job which you're good in, to make a job that has a sense to you, and then you're good at, and then they can bring you joy and you like and you enjoy doing it. So all those things are for me the basics and the most like beginning of the conversation with talents. Tech or non-tech, this is exactly for me. Please don't jump into directly, okay, I'm calling you, I know you're busy, I want to talk about that and that and that. This is how you get to know better a talent that you're talking to. So give them value. This is another super interesting thing about how can motivate a candidate to join your company. I mean, all those things are possibly doing through the job description. We'll talk about copywriting after, but those are really 4 values that I have always on the sheet when I'm recruiting, about telling about the strong culture we have. Define the character and personality of the companies. All that culture, the recruiter has to understand that. It's not, I mean, it's super obvious for a CEO, a founder, a head of, but just like a starting. So people really recruiting for your company has to absolutely manage this concept. Founding myth, how the company was started. Why, for example, I built Blue Maze. All the people, we have almost like 100 people working for Blue Maze, and they know exactly how that started. So this is not the point today, but just make sure that people working for you know the myth, how you found the company. Then we always talk about the daily rituals we have. They really are super attractive. For example, in our company, we apply the Scrum and full Agile method to non-tech teams, so recruiting teams. So we work, as I said the time before, the first session, we work on Agile. So we have the sprint planning on Monday, we have a little Scrum meeting in the morning, and we have on Friday at noon, the demo and the retro. After that, the week is done. At 1 p.m. on Friday for Blue Maze, the week is over and we shut everything. Those are daily rituals. They are giving really values. And we have to tell about that when we're just recruiting. And then all the environments are bringing value to life at every moment and every place. So it sounds maybe a bit cheesy, but this is really, really super important to get interest of some candidates, especially in tech. So the best way to attract the right people at the right time. So to make a good recruitment, we need a duration, we need to make objective, to fix objective, and to fix achievement. This is really, really, again, some basic for some people, but this is so important that it's really clear in your recruiter's mind. Express your identity. Again, this is super trendy. Everybody has seen the Simon Sinek video. For ones who haven't, I really recommend you to see that video. It's just find and express the why of the company. I mean, for example, I recruit for Blue Maze. I say, okay, our vision is to recruit. This is not a why. This is a how. And what we do, we just use sales and marketing technique. We develop our products to help companies to recruit. This is, again, not a why. This is a what. The why of Blue Maze is really to have impact on human teams at our clients. We're not like a platform. We're not Upwork. We don't fulfill gaps. We just get into all our clients' need, and we want to change the team, change the way they work, change the human capital they have. This is the why. I know my why, and all the people that are working for Blue Maze, they have to know that why. So if you really have a whole team of recruiters, you have to really, really be sure that they manage that why, because I mean, we're talking about selling right now. You're selling a company to some talents that you want to attract. So the recruiter, he's like the showroom. He's like the flag store, like it's like the person who the talents are going to first talk with. So if you just say, all right, well, Blue Maze, we're recruiting tech, how attractive it is. Then, of course, another super important concept, really, really, really amazing in tech recruiting is employer branding. So in Europe and France, we have that website, Welcome to the Jungle. I think it's maybe started already in the States. And on that page, it's like our landing page dedicated to recruitment. That shows that you care about the talent. Having a landing page, not just like ATS, like application tracking systems, where they can just go put their CV online. And okay, all the companies have that. But if you have either Welcome to the Jungle, which is one of the products, or something that you can develop on your own, having just a landing page dedicated to the people you're recruiting, this is, for me, again, the best way to attract right people. So how you can build some of tips that I'm giving to you right now to really build brand foundation for employer. So talk about the social benefits, make it transparent, put everything. You have Glassdoor, you know, that people are just using to check. This is even better if it's on your own website. Then talk about that landing page, about management techniques. As I said, we use Agile. So this is something that is super interesting. We have to talk about that, and we want to, and this is part of our Employment Blend Foundation. So this is crucial to speak about those management techniques. Then communication. So how we talk about communication, which kind of tool we use, that we use Slack, that we have like one-to-one rituals. This is absolutely something that is part of the team, and those are insights. And the more you give insights about what is happening for you, it's obvious because you live and you're part of that brand employment. But you have to show it to the world, and especially to the talents who you think that could join your company. And then, for example, we have retreats. We do 3 retreats per year with all the team, and we talk about that. We make some video. I mean, it sounds quite obvious, but I see really few companies doing that. Not just posting on LinkedIn, you know, the popular post, oh, I'm so happy, I've been welcomed by Blue Maze, I have a laptop, I have a pen. Thanks God you have a laptop, you have a pen. But what is more interesting than just posting randomly on LinkedIn is just having all that insight on your website and talking about that and giving some verbatim, sharing some videos. And this is super important to show that you have a certain group cohesion, if it's the case. So inbound, so is the way to attract. This is something really copy paste from like the funnel we talked on the first session. Is about, I'm not going to dig too much into that. It's going to take too much time, but really this is for me the best way to express what is inbound is. And what does that mean in absolutely the recruiting? So the most painful thing is, of course, attracting and source candidates. So that's why we'll see how you can go through that and how I can help you just working on the inbound, which is quite long. You will see it's like SEO, but I will talk about that later. And how once you work on that, the highest part, the toughest part of the funnel, get some leads. So leads, candidates that are turned into, they're at the beginning, random talents that you turn into candidates, that you convert into candidates. So they start to apply, and how you engage them. And why I wanted to share absolutely that slide is that there's no doubt for the people who really think that sales and marketing is not really close to recruiting. This is absolutely what we do at Blue Maze. We attract, we source, we get a lead, we convert them, we engage them into the process. And then, of course, this is another topic, but once they're part of the company, employees, we really pay attention to them. Another slide that I wanted to dig in really into the inbound is to be absolutely talent centric. So this is really, again, we took that from sales and marketing too. And the first thing you have to do, that's what inbound, it's what's really, really important is awareness. You have some example, those are again, basics, but they do work. Not just only for clients. Of course, we do a lot of books, of podcasts, we do webinar absolutely for our clients, and they love that, but you have to do exactly the same, especially if you're working with communities. I mean, again, sounds super basic for myself. I don't know about all the people that are connected to that session right now, but those are simple, okay, time consuming, of course, but quite cheap tools to use to make some awareness on the web about your company. Especially if you specialize, for example, for us in recruitment, it's really, really game changing to do that. Then in the content, you can have that evaluation. You can go really deeper into that expertise that you're selling, not just to your client, but to the community. And this is how after you can use that content all the bottom to make the conversion. So again, really talking, I'm talking all the time about sales and marketing, but this is exactly the same for recruiting for us. So now I wanted to talk about a company that I met in Europe called Golden Bees. So I'll share you some link on the third session about them. They're not the only one in the world. They are the best in Europe. And they talk a lot about programmatic recruitment. Basically, it's again, another discipline, another topic that you could absolutely apply and add that to your marketing. So your CMO will be super happy about that, to spend money to recruit. So something is super easy in tech that we do. So we have a lot of clients on the blockchain, on Web3. And so what we do with clients and Golden Bees and others, so this is not our specialty, but something that you really have to know, again, another concept that is super, super interesting, is to really use the targeting active passive on candidates. Purchases, Instagram, advertising space on the web. For example, we work for a company that is making little dogs on the metaverse. And so we are targeting all the candidates that are connected to some groups of French Bulldog, of English Bulldog. And so to make them really be aware that they could do some Web3, so JavaScript development on the Web3 company that is making what we call petverse, like on the metaverse. And this is really working really, really good. So then, of course, you can make exactly like the same. I'm not a sales and marketing expert, but I'm sure this is going to tell you a lot of things through target definition, monitoring, and candidates KPIs. So this is what programmatic recruitment helps really you to do. And then with all those concepts, you can really save time and have application. So this is all about inbound, and this is how you can get just absolutely application through that programmatic recruitment. So just a little resume about that. Checking time. So the benefits, of course, it's an amazing company's attraction booster. It's like working with your marketing team to involve them on the recruitment really helps you to be a really company's attraction booster. Then we're all not all GAFAs. We're not like Tesla. We're not SpaceX. So it's for us, it's harder to get attraction on what we do, especially on recruitment. Believe me, recruiting is still something that, for example, HR people do not want to do. And this is fine for me because I'm looking more for sales profile, want to just like recruit my recruiters. But for companies like us, it's quite hard. They don't think about us. They don't see us on the web. They're not going to apply like that. So we have really to use those inbound techniques to build a strong pool of candidates, which is really, really important. And then, of course, obviously, you'll have less effort on your future recruitment, especially on the sourcing part. The bad part of it is like, it's like SEO, you know, when you talk to marketing guys, the first thing they tell you about SEO, it's long. When you want to buy some words on Google, some AdWords, they say, okay, it's going to take quite a while. It's just exactly the same. So really do not really take longer to start on that because the market is super competitive. And so it takes really, really a long time to do so. Then, sadly, doesn't work for really penurious profile. Well, this is something that could be challenged because we did have, for example, the Web3, some really like super amazing blockchain developers, and that we really managed to catch, helping that company on, was a really brand new company on that inbound part. So I will say it's not a dogma again. It's quite, of course, more difficult, but it could really help. And again, not for emergency situation. Of course, obviously, if you're looking for a developer for Monday, it's going to take time to get it. So now we'll focus more on outbound. So that was just some theory that I wanted to share about your own companies, what you can do in inbound. The clients, when they call Blue Maze, it's more for outbound, of course. So they really want us to make like some absolutely campaign to help them recruiting. And as I said, as an introduction, sourcing is the most complicated part. So at Blue Maze, we really focus on outbound, and I want to think that we're good at it. And this is, I'm going to show you step by step how we do that. So the first step we do, again, for me, those are things that I started doing like 10 years ago. So those are really basic, but you don't recruit by just picking your phone and sending some LinkedIn invitation and say, okay, I have my job description, of course. I'll start adding people on LinkedIn, I have like just 100 like invitations per week. So we have a process. So first step is absolutely defining the project, context, mission, what you want, the budget. I mean, it seems a bit silly too, but you need a budget. You have the ideal budget you want, you have the top budget, if you have really the top talent that you wanted, and really talk and write about the motivation, why we absolutely need that talent. So this is the step one. Step two, I talked already about that last time, but I wanted to really insist about the scorecard. Still, I see some companies working without scorecard. So, okay, I'm not obsessed by scorecard, but I couldn't work without it. So those are some points that are super, super important for me about the scorecard. Must be tangible. So the first part, qualification. For example, you have to be really close to your tech teams, your CTO, the hiring managers on tech for us to fix what is tangible, what they really need. For example, they speak about full stack, but do they really need someone that is going to develop 50% on back, 50% on front, or is it more back mission with someone that made a lot of, for example, or a bit of front? You have to really measure that and put it on the scorecard. All the part that cannot be measured, this is quite important too. We can talk about, for example, the methodology. If you want to work with, okay, I'm not going to speak too much about tech, but I could give you an example about that, like agile method, someone who is testing his own code at the same time. Those are things that are less like hard, more to check on, for example, on the developing test, but you can just talk. The soft skill too have to be in the scorecard. Hard skills, again, really related to the first point, and transferable. What I talk about transferable is, for example, you can take something from another industry that you can apply. For example, I really like to recruit creative recruiters. I like to recruit pirates or growth hacker recruiters, because if they really, okay, that's not something we'll think about recruiters, for example. We want them to know how to source, to know how to recruit. People are still recruiting people coming from HR trainings or like HR business school. I like more people that are creative, for example, how they found a solution. If they blocked, they cannot just recruit a profile, how they're going to go inside some communities, how they can go to some events, how they're going to do some scrapping about that. So this is like something important that I really transfer from other industry, more creative industry, growth hacking industry, what we call biomimicry, to have that transferable into the recruiting profile. Then persona. So we make workshops with our client to absolutely define their persona. So exactly like you do in marketing, for the people who do persona in marketing. And this is really important to set, either if you are working in a recruiting agency or if you have like you're an internal recruiter and you really want to understand who the person is recruiting. And the more precise the persona is, the better. Means you know exactly who the person is, what she's doing on the weekend, and it's just like a game. Or you make a little photo, you go on Unsplash, you take a random picture about the way the person, making like the portrait of that person, what are their habits. Could be quite easy when you're looking for making like some pets in the metaverse. Could be sometimes trickier, but it's really fun. I really do it with some clients, and it's really funny the way they describe, and you go really into that. And this is an internal tool. Of course, you're not going to post the person on LinkedIn or on, please do not so. And it's really something you have to play. You have a lot of tools on Google that you can find to define persona. For the one like me, I mean, I made a business school, but I just forgot everything that I saw there. And so I just found some with some sales marketing team. We just use what they're using. So go inside your marketing department and say, okay, I want to absolutely know what you're using to fix the persona. And this is super interesting. And then you know exactly who you recruit. And this is an amazing tool. Again, part of the strategy of the outbound part is really super important. All those 6 points that we're going to see after about using technology, define the different channels you can find people. I mean, again, this is really close to, for example, you try to sell, okay, I'm starting BlueMaze. I want to say, okay, I need to fix some different channels of acquisition. This is exactly the same for recruiting. Before starting, just fix where you want to recruit. For example, you want to recruit recruiters, which is quite complicated now. So you have to dig into, do they have groups, how they behave, where they get some tips, for example. I could scrap, for example, all the people that are inside that session, and then you can really use different kind of channel to recruit. And this is like, I'll make some comparison. We also, okay, this is a bit of a buzzword, but it's like there's a war on recruiting talent, as you know. And so before starting the war, you have to be prepared. And this is part of the preparation, all those 6 points. Okay. Then we'll see on the session number 3, how you will make some automations with all the scenarios. Of course, the idea is not to make them manually. This is really too much time consuming. But before, for example, I'll show you on the 3rd session some tools to make some scenarios, which are not so expensive. Really, the UX and the UI is really nice, but you have to think before. I mean, the tools do not do everything. So you have to see in which kind this is really related to your persona. For example, we have tools that make some scenarios about on Monday, they visit the LinkedIn profile. So the person just sees that you are looking to the profile. Then on Wednesday, we asking to be part of the network, like invitation, no message, never ever. As I said on the first session, just play on the FOMO, do not put any message. Again, no dogma, we have data for that. And then on Friday, you will, I don't know, make a first icebreaker, ask a question. This is really the first scenario, slow and optimal in responses. So, okay, how's life in that company? Have you seen that thing? You can really have a lot of scenarios with that. And then you can, the week after, if you have no reply, going on the email, saying, okay, I tried to maybe you have a lot of emails on your LinkedIn, so I really wanted to be sure. And all those scenarios, you can make automations. So you just have to launch it. You think before, of course, about the scenario you want, and you just start and you launch the scenario. Then you have other scenario, fast. If you really like, absolutely, you have your CTO just told you today that he's quitting. You don't have the time to think. Even though for me it's super important, you can go absolutely fast and add people, invitation. And then just digging really into the thing, okay, I'm looking for a CTO. This is my calendar. Please book a 15-minute call as a call to action. And we'll talk about what we're looking or what we can offer to you. So this is, you will have, of course, less responses. You have even bigger. So when we were looking for all the blockchain developers in Europe, we made a 3-month campaign and we were talking about thousands of email. Everything, of course, of automation, but we had, of course, like the return ratio was lower. So those are the different kind of scenarios you can have. The last thing about the copywriting, which is super important. And again, you can see in your countries, what I did is that I really, so in France, La Belle France, we had a lot of influencers that are really famous on LinkedIn, what we call the top voices on LinkedIn. They can be really inspiring. Okay, some less than other, but this is super interesting that you see the people in your own countries, how they do interact on LinkedIn. So we put, like, again, 6 tips that we think that are super that we can dig after. If you want to have more information about that, I'll be glad to talk about it. But copywriting is super important. Again, you don't just go, you stress, you need to recruit your company, just raise some money, or you're just making your first recruitment, just think about the copywriting. This is super important to capture the intention in the first 3 lines. We have a lot of storyteller, of course, on LinkedIn. Sometimes it's a bit too much. They put a lot of emoticons. Find your own way, depending on your persona, of course. And those are really what we think about copywriting, to make it emotional and visual. And then I'm going to talk about the call to action. So at Bloommates, it's really simple. We decided just to have one call to action. We don't want to have too much interaction in writing. So we just want to have something catchy. And then the call to action is always the same. The call to action is just book a call with us. 15 minutes, not more. And for you, it's not too much time consuming, because if after 5 minutes, you see that the person is really not a fit, you will tell me, oh my God, but I'm going to have 10 calls per day. Yeah, but this is exactly, for me, like recruiting is like selling. and they make a little appointment. And after 5 minutes, you can be really polite and cut the call. It's okay, it's not gonna work. So you don't have, again, to reply to all your emails. You don't have to make no-go. Could be a bit harsh, but it's part of your culture. I mean, this is our culture, we're really frank. And so, and after 5 minutes, okay, it's a no-go. I have to interrupt the call. I'm not gonna lose your time. It's not gonna fit for us because of that reason. Again, 6 principles of influences. Again, those are, if you want to make a screenshot about that, those are, again, some of our work we do about copywriting. And there are those principles you have to know. I'm not going to dig into right now. It's a bit long. So speaking about mimicry again, so we use a lot of open source intelligence. Basically, of that super scientist, and my teams, they really like to talk about those concepts, etc. But it's just that it's super important to use the data you can find on the web to recruit. Just do not stay on LinkedIn all your life, all your time of recruiting, and you can find a lot of information. It's what I want to show you right now. So yeah, I have 7 minutes, it's going to be all good. So now we're going to see some nice things about recruiting on Google. So this is one of the most important tool we use to source is Google search. Super easy. I'll show you step by step how you can do that and how you can scrap after the data using Instat Data Scrapper, which is absolutely free. And then we'll talk about a French tool. So I have no shares, I swear. It's a really nice tool that is called Phantom Buster. And I'm gonna Phantom Buster was my accent, sorry. And I'm gonna see how you can scrap the Slack really easily. So for example, a Google search, I'm gonna make a simple search. For example, let's say we search a CTO in New York, which is working in blockchain, for example. So first thing, I'm gonna put that. After, do not worry, on the third session, you'll have all the tools on the page, and I'll make a little tutorial with a video with that. So but just I wanted to make it live for you, how you can absolutely Google search like that. So here, you'll see, first thing, he's going to show me lots of pages with LinkedIn profile only. So then I'm going to just put a space, which means end. Then I'll add that inside the title of LinkedIn, so in title as it is written, I want to see CTO. So you cannot, I mean, for example, if you use some Sales Navigator's LinkedIn license, you can put, for example, CTO, and let's say that the guy, he put on his LinkedIn that he was a CTO of his junior school business or like tech school, and now he's just a developer. So you will send him a message being a CTO because it's not in the title. But you cannot be wrong if you use the title. So this is super important. Then let's try to put the localization again with the N. So New York. And then now let's put, for example, in the text. So this is not in the title, this is in the text, that he makes some JavaScript. And let's say that I want him to make some cloud, either some blockchain, for example. I'm sorry for the non-tech, but this is my daily life. And you have those pages. Believe me, this is more efficient than any other LinkedIn searches. So now you'll have all those pages, lots of pages with all those profiles that are really useful. So now you'll tell me, okay, you're not going to go, of course, on every single pages. You'll use that extension that is called, that you see here. I'm going to put it in smaller. And that extension, he's going to crawl absolutely all the pages here. So now he's scrapping all the pages, page by page. As you can see, it's scrapping. And you will have all those pages into whatever you want, XLS or CSV. And this is super efficient. This is, I mean, I don't have the data for last year, but I think the previous year was like, when we really started, was like 85% of our recruitment through, we have, of course, like more complex scrappers, but that technique is really useful. And then you ask me what you're going to do with the CSV. Well, you have a lot of bots, and I will show you one that you can use all those extract to put into boat, and then you can do whatever you want. Either you want to extract the email, either you want to just share, like use them to get them invited on LinkedIn, or you can make both scenarios. You use one part 1 week, you add on LinkedIn the other week, you use the email, both. And this is super, super efficient. One of those boats is called Phantom Buster. This is Buster. 2 minutes more. So this is a French tool. You have a lot. I'm going to put you on the next session. I'll put you all the Scrapper I know. You will have wall pages of all the tools. You can choose whatever is better to you. We use that. It's French. They're based in WeWork Paris too, so it's good. And for example, let's take, I want to recruit some recruiters. So as we say, we define the persona of the recruiter, and we were like, okay, where are the recruiters? So we were digging, and then we found that there's a Slack in France that everybody knows, well, everybody knows, that is quite famous, that is called Recruiters Kitchen. And as you can see here, there's like almost 5,000 of recruiters. So how you can talk to those recruiters? Of course, you can go, you can post a job. Okay, I'm looking for recruiters. No one is going to respond to you because no one is checking the Slack, but you do have an amazing Slack. So what you can do, you can go here, you can put Slack, and you have here a little bit, costs like 20 euros per month. It's quite cheap. And you have Slack channel user extractor. So this is scrapping. I'll connect my account here. I put the URL of the Slack. I put it here. Then I save it. You can even choose, for example, if I want to recruit in freelance, I can use that Slack. I will better go on that general Slack. So you put the channel here and you scrap. You just go ahead. You save and you launch it. It's going to take like 45 seconds. And after the 45 seconds, you will have a CSV, which everything you will have on that Slack. So now it's the authentication part. And after those 45 seconds, you will have the CSV that will appear. So now you can see you have all the users that are extracted and you have the CSV. With that CSV, you have everything. So you can download it. Here, let's see how it is. Up. And you have the CSV. So what you can do with that CSV after, as you can see, you have everything here. You have names to name, you have the email, for some you have even the phone, you have where they're based, you have everything. So what we do is that we import that on Google Sheet, of course, and then we use that, as I said before, we can do a lot of things. We use our own tool, we use like Phantom Buster. We can, with that, add all those people using the LinkedIn, grow your network, for example. And you can add them to your LinkedIn. You can make cold emailing scenarios, sequences email, and you can do a lot of things with that. It's really, really useful to recruit. So that's it for that demo. And on the next session, we'll see how we use, which kind of tool we use of cold emailings. We'll see how we can use GitHub and how you can extract some email. All the Google Docs session, this is really interesting. You're going to see a lot of things like that. After, I'll send you the what we call the amazing toolbox, which are a lot of extensions, free things, some hacks you can use, and we'll really check about emails and LinkedIn automation. So just as a conclusion, so really important for us that I wanted to really underline during that session, it's super important to understand the motivation of talents, define the challenges of inbound. That was really important to me. More for like inside recruiters, then outbound is really for companies like us that are recruiting for other companies. Outbound is really key. Do not think that scrapping data is just something that you do with a lot of volume. You can make a lot of personalization. You can have slow scenarios. So really do not listen to people who will tell you, okay, this is bullshit. You're going to just some spams and you're just spamming the people. No, we put a lot of brain inside of that. It's like business intelligence. So if we never really use it as like really fast scenario, it's really, we can make a lot of volume with really interesting. And using the title, you cannot really miss your target, like we could say. And this is for us. I mean, in France, it's a new way to recruit. And that's it for me.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mehdi. We will have you back for a third session, and not next week, but actually the week after. So we're taking a little break, and you'll be back on May 19th to talk about automating your recruitment process. Automation is, of course, always an important one.
Absolutely. Only demos. And at the end, I'll share the Notion link with all the tools that I'm preparing for you. Thanks for your attention. Yeah, thanks, Stephanie, for all the animation, and have a good day.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and see you all
Bye.
soon. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.